Aloha everyone, my name is Keenan and welcome to my channel where an engineer from Hawaii talks about how we can better spend our time and money. And speaking of spending money, today we're going to be answering the month-old question from my first video that I posted here on YouTube. What were my interesting purchases in my 20s? So today I'll be sharing 6 of what I believe to be some of my most interesting purchases and the lessons that I learned from each one. So as always, don't forget to like the video, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my new content that comes out every Monday and Wednesday. And now to the interesting purchases. So number 1, I paid to swim with sharks without a cage. Yes, I paid money to go on a 15-minute boat ride out into the middle of the ocean so that I could then place myself into the water with dozens of sharks beneath, without a cage. It was quite a surreal experience to just put your face in the water and just see the sharks moving beneath you. The company that ran this is called One Ocean Diving, and I would highly suggest it to anybody that's remotely interested in this. On the 15-minute boat ride out there, they educate you on like sharks' behavior and things like that, and it makes you feel a lot more comfortable definitely about jumping into the water with no cage. They create a much more natural environment for you. They don't chum the waters or do anything unnatural, so you get to see the sharks as they are in their natural habitat. So once you get out there, you basically go outside and there's a rope on the side of the boat that you have to hold on to while you just look at the sharks for however long you want. And how much did I pay for this expedition? So this was actually a birthday present to my girlfriend, so I treated her and her friend to go, so the total cost of the whole thing was $420 for the 3 of us. And so what did I learn from this? I learned that you have to understand that if you get a girlfriend, there is a possibility that that may lead you to the middle of the ocean into shark-infested waters. Just kidding. Sort of. What I learned and what I took away from this is that I get much more fulfilled when I spend money on experiences. I was definitely hesitant before I was actually going to do this, but it is something that I will never forget, and for me, actually, it's only $140 for me technically, and that's a nice price to pay to have that sort of experience. So interesting purchase number 2, fast food in 2018. Keenan, that's not interesting. Oh ho ho ho, but maybe it might be. So 2018 was a very busy time for me while I was at work. There was a time during 2018 where I was working pretty much like 16-hour days for 4 months straight. I remember I would go into work a lot of days at 6 a.m. and sometimes I wouldn't leave till like 2 a.m. the following day. So clearly my life was pretty much work during that time, and that created some interesting tendencies for my diet. So I'll pull some examples here up on the screen. I'll actually bring my computer because I can't remember all of this. So here we go. 2 days, 3 fast food places. Starting off July 30th with McDonald's. The next day following up strong with Taco Bell. But that was not enough for me. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, let's wash that Taco Bell down with some McDonald's on the same day. And then we'll fast forward to about a month later towards the end of August. We've got a solid lineup here of Wendy's, 7-Eleven, McDonald's, 7-Eleven, Burger King, Jack in the Box. And then, so Jeweler Juice is a local store and I usually get my acai bowls from there. So I probably figured I'll have some Jack in the Box and then the fruit from the acai will basically cancel that. So that was a good healthy decision. And then I followed that up with McDonald's and 2 visits to 7-Eleven. But then I moved forward to the end of September, and this is my favorite one by far because it shows you how unbiased I am when it comes to my diet. On September 30th I visit Pizza Hut. And I followed that up with a visit to Wendy's, Burger King, KFC, and Taco Bell. So clearly I was an equal opportunity customer. And so my circumstance at work, because I was finishing work so late and I didn't want to bother my parents at home making a bunch of ruckus with the microwave, so I would just go to wherever was open at the time, and that usually was just a fast food place. In 2018 I made purchases at a fast food place like a McDonald's, Burger King, Panda, 7-Eleven, 132 times. It's kind of a lot. And that led to a total year's expenditure of $1,233. So since then I've definitely mellowed down and I've cut it back quite a bit now. But what you can take away from this is basically the importance of planning. If you know that you're gonna get busy, try to make your meals ahead of time, plan where your meals are coming from. So 1, you're not nourishing your body with this kind of stuff. But 2, you can save the money and you can make your food at home. It's just gonna be much better for your lifestyle. So getting away from my dietary tendencies, we'll go to my hobbies at number 3, and that is golf. I love golf. There's nothing better than being the first one out on the golf course, seeing the dew on the grass, and just having the time of your life with your friends. It's one of those places that I enjoy so much that I'll literally hang out with anyone. You can build a lot of good business connections on the golf course, And as you grow up, you realize that a lot of your old friends also start golfing too, so I'll be able to rekindle those friendships. But golf is an expensive hobby. And since 2017, I've spent $18,732 on golf. So that doesn't just include just the round itself, which can range from anywhere from $35 to like $85. But that $18,000 also includes like the new clubs that I got, the new bag, getting new gear, getting food at the golf course, going to the driving range, and any other sort of golf related expense. So some of you out there may be thinking, well, he really loves golf. He spent, $18,000 in, 3 to 4 years on it. He must be really good. There's no way he can spend that much amount of money and not be good. So let me answer that with a visual aid.
Oh! Crap. Go! No! What?
What's happening? $18,000 well spent. But again, the bulk of these expenses came from when I was living at home with my parents. Now that I moved out and I have to pay a mortgage and I have other bills to pay, I've pretty much cut down all those golf expenses by at least 85%. So the lessons that I learned from this is if I didn't spend $18,000 on golf, that could go to like a down payment on a home, invested. The future value of $18,000 is a lot of money. See my video on compound interest to see how money grows. So even though I had no bills, I really should have been keeping my recreational money in check. So this big expense will never happen again. So number 4, back to food, and it's called Monopole. So if you don't know what Monopole is, it's basically, I think they call it hambao in the mainland. But it's that Chinese like bread thing that has char siu or like pork in the middle. And it almost acts as a universal form of currency here in Hawaii. You can get a lot done with a box of Monopole. And construction is a place where the value of Monopole goes a long way. So at my job, I had to deal with the workers and kind of to show appreciation to them if they, hit a certain productivity number, or if they pour the floor at a certain flatness level, I would buy a box of Monopole for the whole crew. And since I started working at this company in 2015, I spent a little over $2,000 on Monopole alone. So the lesson that I learned from me, this is an expense to me that has more than reaped the $2,000 worth of benefit. The relationship that I built with the crew and the trust that we have, that's gone from job to job to job, and that's why I'm pretty close with a lot of the guys in the field. I like to think that it's not just the Monopole, but I know that it is a contributing factor because I was one of the few engineers that would do that for them. So if not Monopole, something else, just to show appreciation to others that help you. So number 5, spontaneous sporting events. So there were 2 in my life that make the interesting purchase list. The first one was back in college, and I know that wasn't my 20s, but I wanted to throw that in here anyway. On my first day of college at the University of Washington, my friend and I were pondering on going to the Monday Night Football game where the Seahawks were playing the Packers. But we thought he had a chemistry lab scheduled for that day, so we weren't going to go. He found out in his early lecture that labs don't happen in the first week, so spur of the moment we bought $250 nosebleed tickets to go see the game. Not the smartest move from 2 college guys that don't have jobs. But if anyone remembers that game back in 2012, that was a historic game where they had the famous touchdown touchback thing. And that was a historic game because that's what ended the whole replacement refs thing in the NFL. And we were there. We saw that. And the funny thing is, you fast forward about 6 to 7 years later, I'm there with that same friend trying to make that same decision about going to the Rose Bowl because UW was playing Ohio State in the Rose Bowl and we've never been there. So we made the spontaneous decision a few days before the Rose Bowl that we were just going to go and fly there. So for the ticket and the flight, luckily my auntie let me stay with them in California. That came out to $700 spur of the moment decision to go watch UW lose to Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. So what do I learn from these spontaneous decisions? They're usually more expensive. So the more that you plan ahead, likely the more efficient you'll be with your money. But again, like I said before, I like spending money on experiences, and these are stories that we can tell for years to come. But we probably could have saved a few $100s more if we just planned. So number 6, and to wrap this up in the best way possible, in Hawaii we call it pauhana, or done with work. My last interesting purchase we'll talk about today is my alcohol collection. And what makes this so titillating is I don't drink. So why did I spend money on an alcohol collection? I truly believe that I'm more fun when I'm not intoxicated, but you know, maybe my friends will disagree. But since most of them do drink, and a lot of times I'm there telling them, why are you spending so much money on drinks? You know, the restaurant is making so much margin on this drink, you should just try to make it at home or do something cheaper. So instead of continuing to convey my probably annoying thoughts to them about their drinking habits, during my quarantine thoughts I figured I would take this problem into my own hands and I would learn how to bartend and make my own drinks for them. I do like entertaining and I want to make my friends happy and I want to provide a little bit of value to them. So I figured I would just surprise them and take up this hobby and see what they say. So just spur of the moment I went out and I bought like my own shaker and I bought all these different alcohol things. I don't even know what I really bought really. I just looked and I didn't even realize that, you know, when they say top shelf, like it actually in stores is actually, you know, categorized, like the better ones are on the top shelf. I had no idea. But yeah, I just went out and I bought all that stuff. I bought a little lime juicer thing. I bought the little spoon thing so that I could, you know, be fancy and like pour the thing down the spoon. So after all the different alcohols stuff that I bought, came out to about $130. And apparently my drinks actually are coming out pretty good. I've actually never really had anything that I've made, but the peer reviews have been pretty good. So lesson learned, try to do things at home. I personally like hanging out with my friends in a home setting as well, because when you're at a bar, I mean for me I have bad hearing too, so I can't hear what anybody's saying when there's loud music around. But it's nice when we can all save a little bit of money and spend time together. Thank you for watching the video. Comment below which one was your favorite purchase, or if you think you have an even more interesting purchase that you made in your 20s. As always, if you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any more videos from me and you can join our growing family here on YouTube. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for watching and I'll see you on the next video.